terrorskolan West Point. Hon har forskat på den här terrorgruppen i flera år. Och jag frågade henne hur stor risken är för nya terrordåd.
Unfortunately, it is very likely that we will see more attacks from ISK, especially if the situation within Afghanistan continues to deteriorate and the Taliban struggle to govern the country. The reason for this is that ISK currently is weakened, so it needs to signal its resolve, and it also needs to undermine the Afghan Taliban in the eyes of Afghan citizens, but also in the eyes of the international community. So they have strong incentives and opportunities, given the U.S. withdrawal, to launch more attacks compared to prior years.
The ISK in Afghanistan and the Taliban are both extreme Islamist movements. Why are they enemies?
So even though they have some ideological overlap, their goals are not identical. So the Afghan Taliban are nationalistic in nature, which means that the Taliban are mainly concerned with establishing a Taliban-controlled government, implement Sharia law within Afghanistan. They're not interested in exporting their jihad. They're not interested in targeting other governments. Now, ISK is ISIS' official affiliate in Afghanistan.
And part of their vision of creating a caliphate is gaining physical territories, including the Afghanistan-Pakistan region. So ISK is pursuing a caliphate. It seeks to eliminate national boundaries, and it threatens multiple regional actors. And it also targets Shiite populations and minorities. So overall, nationalistic movements such as the Taliban are framed as anti-caliphate movements. So ISK's claims on the Afghanistan-Pakistan region as a fundamental part of its goals delegitimizes the existence and the purpose of the Taliban, whose primary focus was liberating Afghanistan from Western occupation. So we see a lot of differences in their goals, even though they both are Islamist movements.
And how close is the ISK to the Islamic State, which ruled over parts of Syria and Iraq for some years?
That's a very good question. So we have evidence that Islamic State Central, ISIS, played a key role in at least setting up ISK initially. They facilitated meetings between their leaders and they provided seed money. At the moment, we're not sure how strong those links are because ISIS has been weakened as well. But we know for sure that Islamic State Central had a role in setting it up.
So how much influence do you think the ISK will have in Afghanistan?
So I think at the moment, ISK is focused on reconsolidating its base in Afghanistan because they experienced significant losses due to CTE operations, as I mentioned, between 2015 and 2018. However, there are a few concerns here going forward. So Islamic State has smaller branches and cells across South Asia. So, for example, they attempted to expand into Kashmir in 2016. They've also created IS India and IS Pakistan, and they have presence in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So there's a possibility in the future that these individual branches may begin to cooperate and result in a deeper fusion of local militant groups and Islamic State affiliates. And this is likely to happen within Afghanistan as well. In the short term, I think we can expect Islamic State Khorasan to increase its violence in Afghanistan. They have to delegitimize and undermine the credibility of the Afghan Taliban, both domestically and also internationally. So in the long term, however, it is possible that Islamic State Khorasan gains capacity and resources, and it begins to threaten Western interests and allies in the region.
Och det sa Amira Jadoon. Och Agenda är nu slut för ikväll, men vi är tillbaka nästa söndag.